Have you ever paused for a moment and thought, is this just aging or is something wrong with me? After the age of 65, our bodies don't always shout when something's wrong. Instead, they whisper, softly, subtly, through small changes that are easy to overlook. Before continuing with the video, if you want to see more content like this, you can pause it for 1 second and subscribe. And while some of these changes are normal, others are early warnings, signals that something deeper might be happening. And ignoring them, that could cost us more than comfort. It could cost us our independence, or even our lives. In this video, we're going to explore 5 important health warnings that you should never ignore once you turn 65. They might seem small, they might seem harmless, but the truth is, these quiet messages could be your body's way of protecting you, if you listen. So, let's begin with the first sign. It's one of the most overlooked, and yet one of the most telling. Warning number 1. Unexplained weight loss. Many people associate weight loss with something good. You eat less, you move more, and the number on the scale goes down. Simple, right? But after 65, things aren't that simple. Imagine this. You haven't changed your eating habits. You're not dieting. Yet suddenly, your pants feel loose. Your rings spin around your fingers. You feel a little weaker than usual and maybe a bit tired. At first, you think, well, maybe I'm just getting older. But here's the truth. Unintended weight loss is a red flag. When seniors lose weight without trying, especially more than 5% of their body weight in a few months, it often points to something more serious happening beneath the surface. It could be a thyroid problem, diabetes, digestive disease, cancer, depression, or even malnutrition. Yes, even if you think you're eating enough. Take Ruth, age 70. She noticed she was eating smaller portions and skipping meals without realizing it. Her energy faded. Her arms and legs felt thinner. She brushed it off until she fainted while walking to mailbox. After a visit to her doctor, she learned that her unintentional weight loss had caused her to lose muscle mass, which impacted her strength, balance, and immune system. This kind of change doesn't happen overnight, but it creeps in quietly. So, how can you spot it early? Pay attention to your appetite. Do you enjoy meals like you used to? Have your clothes started to feel loose? Are you skipping meals or eating less out of habit? And most importantly, track your weight, even if just once a month, because that number might tell a story you haven't heard yet. The good news? Weight loss caused by nutrition or muscle deterioration can often be reversed with the right diet, exercise, and medical support. But it starts with awareness. Don't let silence be your answer to a warning that needs your attention. Warning number 2. Feeling out of breath. Too often, the next sign, you might feel it before you even recognize it. Shortness of breath. It can happen walking upstairs, or taking out the trash, or even tying your shoes. And at first, it's tempting to say, oh, it's just age catching up with me. But shortness of breath, especially when doing normal, everyday tasks, is not something to brush off. Here's why. After 65, our lungs and heart naturally change. The elasticity in our airways decreases. The heart may not pump quite as efficiently. But when these systems become stressed, that shortness of breath becomes a symptom, not just a sensation. It could be a sign of heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, anemia, or even fluid around the lungs. Let's take Paul, 74. He used to mow his lawn every week. But one day, halfway through, he had to sit down. His chest felt tight. He was sweating. He told himself, it's just the summer heat. But it wasn't. It was his heart. He later learned he had congestive heart failure, and shortness of breath was one of his body's early cries for help. The signs aren't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just a fact that you can't walk as far as you used to, or that you need to stop and rest more often than before. Maybe you wake up at night feeling winded. Maybe you feel dizzy or tired after simple activities. All of those are whispers, signals. And like Paul, catching them early can change everything. So don't wait until you collapse. Don't convince yourself it's just age. Shortness of breath deserves your full attention because it's your body asking for help. Let's continue. We've already talked about two big signs: unexpected weight loss and shortness of breath. Both are physical, tangible, easy to measure. But what happens when the signal isn't something you can touch or see clearly? What if the warning comes from the mind? Warning number 3: sudden confusion or mental fog. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? That's common and usually harmless. But when memory lapses become more frequent, or when confusion comes on suddenly, that's not something to ignore. Imagine this. You're reading the newspaper and suddenly forget how to follow the sentences. Or you get lost driving home, even though you've taken the same route for 30 years. Or worse, someone you love starts mixing up names, forgetting appointments, or repeating questions again and again. These aren't just senior moments. They can be signs of early dementia, a mini stroke, TI, a reaction to medication, or even an infection that's affecting the brain. Yes, even a simple UTI, a urinary tract infection, can cause confusion in older adults. That's what happened to Sylvia, 76. She was cheerful, active, and mentally sharp. Then one day, she couldn't remember her daughter's name. She was disoriented and agitated. Her family feared the worst, Alzheimer's. But after a medical exam, it turned out to be a severe UTI that had reached her bloodstream. With treatment, her mental clarity returned. The lesson? When the brain sends signals, listen. Here are a few signs to watch for: sudden memory loss or confusion, difficulty following conversations, trouble with familiar tasks, personality changes or unusual behavior, getting lost in familiar places, repeating questions within minutes. If you notice these signs in yourself or someone close to you, don't wait. Talk to a doctor. Sometimes the fix is simple. Sometimes it's more complex. But either way, early action can make all the difference, because your mind is your compass. And when that compass shifts, you need to find your way back. Quickly, warning number 4: dizziness and balance issues. Have you ever stood up and felt the room spin? Or suddenly felt like your legs weren't as steady as they used to be? Dizziness may seem harmless, just a weird moment. But after 65, dizziness becomes something more serious. It's not just about comfort. It's about safety, because balance problems lead to falls. And falls are one of the leading causes of injury and death in older adults. Let's talk about Henry, 79. He was active and independent. But one morning, he got out of bed too quickly and collapsed. No stroke, no heart attack, just a sudden drop in blood pressure, a condition called orthostatic hypotension. He had felt dizzy for weeks, but he said nothing. Now, he was recovering from a fractured hip, a recovery that took months and robbed him of his confidence. It doesn't have to be that way. Balance issues can be caused by dehydration, inner ear problems, low blood pressure, poor circulation, neurological conditions, medication side effects. So what should you look for? Feeling dizzy when standing up, needing to hold on to furniture while walking, tripping more often, feeling off or unsteady while moving, feeling lightheaded when turning your head or bending down. These are not just quirks of aging. They are alarms. Here's the thing: balance can be improved with gentle exercises like standing on one leg near a wall, heel-to-toe walking, Tai Chi, seated leg lifts, practicing slow, deep breathing to steady the inner ear. And most of all, don't brush it off. If you had a fall, or even a close call, talk to your doctor. There may be an underlying issue, or a medication adjustment, or a therapy that could change everything. You deserve to walk through life with confidence and safety. Brain to mind and body connection. As you've seen, not all health warnings are loud. Some are whispers. The mind becomes cloudy. The floor feels further away than it used to. The body hesitates in ways it never did before. But each of these signs is an invitation, not to fear aging, but to understand it, to take control, to step in while there's still time to improve, strengthen, and protect what matters most: your independence. By now, we've covered a lot. Unexpected weight loss, breathlessness during everyday tasks, mental confusion, and memory fog, dizziness and balance issues. Each of these signs is easy to miss, but dangerous to ignore. Now, let's talk about two final warnings. They may seem minor or even embarrassing, but they can reveal more about your long-term health than you might imagine. Warning number 5. Changes in bathroom habits. Let's be honest. Most people don't want to talk about what happens in the bathroom. It's private. It's awkward. But after age 65, changes in urination or bowel movements can tell a very serious story. And ignoring these signs, that's where real danger begins. Let's start with the basics. If you notice blood in your urine or stool, straining or pain while going, needing to go more frequently or urgently, incontinence or leakage, unintentional weight loss paired with diarrhea or constipation. These could be symptoms of colon cancer, bladder cancer, kidney disease, prostate enlargement, irritable bowel syndrome, or even hidden infections. Take Gloria, 72. She noticed blood when using the toilet, but was too embarrassed to say anything. She told herself it was hemorrhoids. 6 months later, her doctor diagnosed colon cancer. Still treatable, but more advanced than it should have been. Now meet Frank, 77. He was waking up 3 times a night to urinate. He didn't tell anyone, assuming it was just age. But a checkup revealed a severely enlarged prostate, something that could have caused permanent damage if left untreated. These stories aren't rare. They happen every day. Not because people don't care, but because they hesitate. They wait. They feel ashamed. And the body keeps whispering louder and louder until something breaks. So here's what you need to know. Blood is never normal. Pain is not a part of healthy aging. Too often or not enough are both signals. Your bathroom habits matter more than you think. They reflect your hydration, digestion, inflammation, and even internal bleeding. Listen closely, and if something changes, speak up. Your doctor has seen it all. Their job is not to judge, but to protect you. Let them. Warning, bonus warning. How you react to stress. Here's one final signal that's often invisible, but incredibly powerful. How do you handle stress? At 65, 70, 75, stress still exists. It might look different, less about work, more about health or family or loneliness, but it's still there, and your body feels every moment of it. You might not notice it at first, but stress has a way of creeping into your sleep, your heart rate, your digestion, even your memory. It affects your immune system, increases inflammation, and speeds up aging. Take Sam, 80. He lost his wife and didn't tell anyone how lonely he felt. His blood pressure rose. His appetite disappeared. He began sleeping during the day and pacing at night. Eventually, he ended up in the ER, not from illness, but from the slow breakdown that stress created. Now contrast that with Eliza, 78. She also lost someone dear, but she spoke to her grandchildren. She took daily walks. She began journaling. She laughed more. And slowly, her strength returned. The difference wasn't in what happened. It was in how they responded. So ask yourself, do I let go of what I can't control or dwell on it? Do I have someone to talk to? Am I breathing deeply or holding it all inside? Do I laugh each day, even just a little? Because stress may not feel like a warning sign, but over time, it can become the foundation of everything else we've talked about. And the sooner you begin caring for your emotional health, the stronger your physical health will be. Yellow Heart Final Reflections. Listening to your future. You've made it to the end. And that tells me one thing. You care. You're listening. You're paying attention to the small signs your body may be trying to send. That's powerful. That's life-changing. Because aging doesn't mean surrender. It means adapting. It means learning how to care for yourself in new ways. And it means staying ahead of what could go wrong before it does. So here's what I want you to remember. Weight changes matter. Shortness of breath is not just fatigue. Memory lapses are messages. Dizziness is a call for balance. Bathroom habits reveal hidden truths. And stress? That's a silent force you can learn to master. Your body is speaking to you. Your job is to listen, to respond, to act. To protect your future by honoring your present, you're stronger than you think, you're wiser than you realize, and you're more capable than the world gives you credit for. So take the next step, whatever that is for you. See your doctor. Start a new routine. Open up. Move forward. Not someday. Today. Because the best years of your life aren't just behind you. They're still ahead, if you're willing to care for them. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. Let's age not with fear, but with intention. Together,